when we prepared this question, of course, we understand that what kind of situation is now in worldwide. So I have many contacts in many countries, and I know what's going on everywhere. So not so a big difference in Moscow, the same. So.
Yeah, right.
And Yuri already explained what's going on in Mexico and a little bit about Los Angeles. Yeah, but nevertheless, life is going on. So it means we have to think about future.
Right.
Yeah. Thank you very much that Alexei invited me to be as an interviewer with you. Unfortunately, I didn't meet you before, but I saw many conferences and seminars. It's very honor for me to discuss with you. First question, Dr. Adizes, in your book, How to Manage in Times of Crisis and How to Avoid a Crisis in the First Place, you write that one element of being strong is that you can make prompt changes in your organization. You are not an aircraft, you taught. You are not an aircraft carrier that needs 5 miles to turn around. You are a PT boat which can turn in no time. What should you take into account when changing tack? It's a very interesting question, how to rule it.
It relates to another question on your list, Yuri, and it is about planning and future, etc. I think that we live now in a world which is, we never had this experience in the past, in the history of humanity. Then what is it? Accelerated growth, accelerated change. The rate of change that we are living in is unprecedented in the history of mankind. But this change is not only fast. Yesterday, I was cleaning the storage of my institute, and I came across some videotapes. My CFO, who is 75 years old, looked at them and says, "What is this?" This was some very old, I think VHS or something, I don't know what they are. A 75-year-old could not recognize an old technology. And he's 75 years old. Children today, when they look at the telephone that you pick up, you know, fixed phone, they say what it is, especially if it has terms. We are living in a world of an incredible rate of change. It's very difficult to do long-range planning under those conditions. So, Eisenhower already said the following sentence, which I think should be the compass for companies, for leaders. Plans are useless. Planning is priceless. You should do planning, look scenarios, imagine possibilities. And then when you make a plan, burn the plan. Don't do like the Soviet Union, a pietolietka, that's it, nobody moves. This is an aircraft carrier. No. Plans are useless because they tie you up. The world is changing, but you have a plan. You stay with the plan. Disaster. Planning is priceless because you're looking at possibilities. You have multiple scenarios and you're watching the scenarios and changing from one scenario to the other as you're walking. The secret of success today is not planning. Not plans. Flexibility. Flexibility. Companies must maintain flexibility. Now the question is, how do you maintain flexibility? Which is your question, how do we change tack? What makes you inflexible is when the parts do not cooperate. I try to turn around and my lower back says, it hurts, don't change. So what happens in a company? Marketing says, we need to change. Sales says, oh, wait a moment. Accounting says, don't you dare to change. Are you crazy? It's going to make our systems go crazy. And what happens? We don't change. Mm. We change. Why do little babies can put a foot in their mouth? And when we bend, we stay there for 2 weeks. You know, you cannot straighten yourself up again. Because babies are very flexible. That's why I recommend in personal life, Yuri, you want to be young? Do yoga every day. What happens in yoga? Yoga means unity. The word yoga, translation is unity, integration. When the body is constantly cooperating, you force all parts of the body to cooperate. Now you're very flexible. It's very easy to change. But when the parts are not cooperating, impossible to change. So the secret, I think, in this new world we live in now is do planning, but don't get attached to the plan. Be flexible. That requires integration. So all parts move together. If all the parts do not move together, you cannot move because some part is holding you back. How do all parts move together? That's the question. You need clear organizational structure that people know what everybody is doing. Because if there is no clarity, when you move, they start stepping on each other's toes. And now problems start. No, you're doing. No, what you're doing. You're going to, you see what's going on? They start fighting. That's why people don't like change. Because they're afraid you're going to take my chair. You're going to sit in my lap. You're going to take away something from me. That organization structure has to be crystal clear. So as we move around, oh, okay, I know what I'm doing. I know what you're doing. Okay, we are not. I use it an analogy, Yuri, of playing football, soccer. I don't know whether you ever see little children playing soccer. How do little children play soccer? There is no positions. They are all chasing the ball together, you know, like locusts, you know, and kicking each other in the shins, you know.
Yeah.
You need to have, you're on the left, you're on the right, you're in the front, you're in the back. Positions. Now we can play together. Now we can move. Otherwise, we will start fighting and kicking each other. Yeah. So you need an organization chart, very clear. Then you need also very good flow of information. Usually what happens in a company, the information flow is organized by accounting and by the supply chain managers and the sales managers. There is no holistic integrated supply organization information that reflects the organization chart. Information is one thing, organization is something else. Now people they don't get information, they get data. What is information? Data organized for decision making. But in order to have decision making, you have to know what your responsibility is, what you're supposed to do. The information is organized one way, and the organization chart is organized the other way. And now what we have is a mess. The water is flowing, but not in the river bends. It's flowing all over the place. Yeah. Big mistake. Be very careful of SAP. You know what SAP is? Yeah. SAP is a German revenge for losing the Second World War. They organize it by information system, ignoring the organization chart. And now we are really stuck. Try changing now the software. Try. Now, who is running the goddamn company? So you need to have organization chart clear. You have information that reflects the organization chart. And the reward system has to be flexible. That's the most difficult. Yeah. Because once the reward system becomes fixed, you want to change? What happens to my self-interest? What happens to my self-interest? Oppa, resistance to change. But if you do reward system based on not individual reward system, they do it by individual. When you do by individual reward system, what happens? There is no teamwork. So they say, we need teamwork, but individual reward system. How can it be? Everybody fights for himself. You need to have team reward system. There is individual salary, yes, but the bonus is based on team reward system. Now we cooperate.
Yeah.
So the reward system is to be based also on results, not on how well you achieve the goal. Soviet Union structure, you know, we didn't achieve the goal, Siberia. Then I will lie, I will cheat, I will have a very low goals, you know, in order to survive. No, 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 no. By results, you achieve results, we share. You didn't achieve results, we don't share.
Okay.
So we need to have clarity chart, information, reward systems. That's called organizational architecture. And now teamwork. Now we are flexible. Now we can change. Now we can have scenarios. Now we can be a pity boat. That is what we need. Now, which tech to take? It's irrelevant. We take this one, take that one. You know, we are very, very flexible. The future is in flexibility. The more flexible the company is, the more successful it's going to be.
Okay, thank you very much. It's very interesting. Second question. In your book, you also write that not making a decision is making a decision to do nothing. Doing nothing out of fear is a prescription of an eventual crisis. And in your speech in Moscow last year, you also said that even if you are on the right road, if you just stand there, you may be run over by a truck. It is hard to understand how to act in an era of uncertainty. What would you advise?
I already gave the answer. Be flexible and open-minded. And I will now add another variable, which I did not say before. In area of uncertainty, the mistake is to believe that the head has all the information. Mm-hmm. The toe in your foot is just a toe. I don't know what the hell. The finger is just a finger. All the brain is here. God forbid you have an organization where the head is detached from the body. Imagine a person that does not feel his body. He has a problem, he's paralyzed. You want the head that listens to the toe, to listens to the finger, that listens to every part of the body. So if the toe is in pain, the head knows. The problem is that we have Soviet Union legacy. Russia is suffering from the Soviet Union legacy. Autocratic leadership. I am the boss. I am the head. And I should know everything. What about the rest of the organization? What about the rest of the organization? Look, I want to repeat something that I say every time I go to Russia. I really want it to go again in your magazine. When I lecture in Russia, in consulting, I'm extremely impressed with Russian people. Very bright. Oh my God. Very creative. Well educated. Literature, mathematics, physics. I mean, I'm from America, and I'm telling you, if I have a competition to choose a Russian executive or an American executive, without blinking an eye, I choose a Russian. Fantastic people. Fantastic leadership. Israel is so successful because of the Russian Jews. They're the innovators, they're creative, unbelievable. So why is Russia not a leader or economic powerhouse in the world? I will tell you the joke you will remember. Because of this problem, one brain. Everybody else, whatever the boss says. The head is detached from the body. And the joke is, a guy lost his brain, went to a store to buy brain. And he tell him, this is a Nobel Prize winner, €500,000. This brain is a very famous surgeon, €200,000. This brain is a Russian executive, €1,000,000. Why? Totally new, never used.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have millions of executives, smart, intelligent, entrepreneurial, fantastic people, unused.
Yeah.
The biggest asset Russia has is not oil, is not gas, is people.
Yeah,
Not used because of the system,
I see.
because of the culture. Started with Peter the Great to bring the German culture to Russia. Bingo. Bingo. Time to open the gates.
I see.
So that is what I think. In area of uncertainty, you have to listen to every part of your body because you don't know everything. That salesman down there, believe me, knows more than the president of the company what's going on.
Okay, good. I just occurred to me, I saw your interview last year and I remember your phrase. Tell me how much love there is in your life and I will tell you how young you are. So it means that we have to listen to our heart more than our brain.
Absolutely.
Brain is like a computer, but our emotion, our willingness, so it's here. And love here. Our love is, you told that love is a God. God is love.
I will tell you more than that, Yuri. If you look at the history of civilization, starting with the chimpanzees, all the way to today, you will see the following transition. The strongest chimpanzee was a leader.
Okay.
Then we became a nomadic society, going from one tree to the other, you know. The strongest hunter was a leader. Then we became an agricultural society. The guy with most land was a leader. Common denominator, muscle. The strongest guy was a leader. Then industrial revolution. Now the brain started to be important. You have to do supply chain management, you have to do processes, planning, follow-up, control, budgets, brain. So now what happened? The brain come up and the power, the muscles went a little bit down. Okay? Together. So it's a power and muscles. Today, muscles are not that important. Brain is all important. Now we have information society, not industrial society, information society. The biggest hotel in the world does not have one hotel. Airbnb. What do they have? Computer and information.
Yep.
The biggest taxi in the world, you have it in Russia too, I think it's in, it's not, yeah, it's Uber or whatever. They don't have one taxi, not one muscle, only brain. The biggest companies in the stock market by valuation are companies that have information. Google, you know, Facebook. What does the Facebook have? Information. We live in information society. Brain. Muscles are not so important. In Russia, the problem is you're still relying on muscle. Oil, gas, and you have the brain unused. Unused.
Yeah.
Now, but even that is on the way out, Yuri. Because now with artificial intelligence, with quantum computers, a new world, the brain will not, human brain will not be able to compete. We will rely on computers to tell us what to do. Algorithms. The brain is out. So what is the future? You know it, the heart. The heart. whoever is going to have heart is going to be able to compete better than those that are just mechanistic. And hear me well, because I wanted to go to the magazine in big letters. Nazi Germany was not a fluke. It was not the end. It's potentially the beginning. People with brain, they invented the nuclear bomb. The Americans stole it. They are incredibly intelligent, the Nazis were. Educated, intelligent, lots of brain, no heart.
Yeah.
How can you throw babies into the fire? No heart. Now, if we as a civilization do not develop the heart, Nazi Germany is the future. Is the future. It already happened in Vietnam. They were counting, the Americans, how many people they killed every day. They were counting how many people we killed today. Viet Congs we killed today. And nobody was saying anything about it. You know, statistics. We are already living in that era. It's the beginning of that era. If we do not develop heart, Nazi Germany is the future. Whether it's fascism or communism, to me, it's the same. Only different parolas. But in essence, culturally, it's the same.
Yeah. Just several years ago in Japan, I heard one word, arrogance.
That's right.
Arrogance. If this arrogance starts in your mind or in your organization, this is the first step to the nothing. So if you have heart, you have feedback from people. So it means a system is holistic, so we can manage it. So not only alone as a boss, but as a leader with team in the team. Okay, thank you very much. It's very, very interesting. And third one, question. Along with corporate life cycles, one of your key management innovations was the PAEI matrix of 4 managers' roles. P for producer, A for administrator, E for entrepreneur, and I for integrator. In your opinion, balanced performance of all 4 roles by company management will help the company act efficiently. Will this matrix and its functions change due to the slowdown in the economy and the fact that companies are forced to save on literally everything? What do you think?
Okay, Yuri, it is a danger. There is nothing more permanent than continuous temporary. I repeat, there is nothing more dangerous than temporary, which is continuous, becomes very permanent. In personal life, first, it's an excuse. I took a cigarette. Now I do another cigarette, and another cigarette, and another cigarette. It's considered continuous temporary. Just today. Continuous temporary. Now it's becoming a habit.
Yeah.
Then it becomes an addiction. Then it becomes your personality. It continues. You have to be very careful when you do something temporarily, that you don't continue it. So what's happening now, there is a slowdown. Now we are going to produce cheap products. We're going to fire people. We're going to do less quality control. You are the specialist in quality control. Less advertising, less quality, less R&D, less innovation. And we made living. It was temporary.
Yeah.
There is a chance it will not be temporary. It can become continuous. You know why? Because look, firing is and cutting cost. Boom, 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 boom. Developing, building, takes effort, more difficult. How many people watch a building being destroyed? Everybody watching a building being destroyed. How many people watch building being built? It's too slow. So there is a danger that now in the slowdown, you will make decisions which are good for the slowdown. But better be sure when the slowdown is finished, you back to normal change. You need to change again, not to be addicted to the savings. Because when you go into savings, the leaders of the company become people who know how to cut. They're not entrepreneurial. The entrepreneurial live on faith. It will be okay. We can do it. The bureaucrat takes over. Cut, 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 cut. The bureaucrats do not know how to live. They stay there. They take control of the company. The slowdown is finished. But the bureaucrats did not leave. They're still there. And they now continue managing the company the bureaucratic way by watching the cost, not watching the revenue.
Yeah.
Entrepreneurs don't worry about cost. They worry about revenue. The bureaucrats worry about cost, not about revenue. So the danger is we might become now very bureaucratized because of the slowdown, because of the power change in the company that the bureaucrat takes over and they forget to live. Entrepreneurs leave. You know why? There is another opportunity. Bureaucrats, when they get a solution, they get a chair, they get addicted to the chair, you cannot move them. Now the company is going to be in trouble in the future.
I see. So logically, fourth question you already opened. So the fourth question is that it has been quite a long time since you wrote.
In the PAI terms, because of the slowdown, be careful that the P and the A do not kill the E and the I.
I see. And in the fourth question, it has been quite a long time since you wrote The Ideal Executive. Why you cannot be one and what to do about it? Would you add anything else? But you already add, maybe you add something else to the understanding of this concept now.
Oh, sure I did. Look, after that book, I wrote 10 more books. So, I mean, I did not stop there. The new things that come after that book are the following. To understand, okay, since the ideal executive does not exist, and we need a complementary team, which means people of different styles working together. That will create necessarily conflict because we are different. So my another book that followed the ideal executive is called Leading the Leaders, which I strongly recommend to people not to read, but to study slowly. Read one page and stop, because it tells you how to work with people who are different. We want to work together, but we don't know how. How do I work with somebody who is totally different than me? I mean, his style is different. The difference is not just in style, it's even in the language. The words have totally different meaning to different styles. When a personality P says yes, it means yes. No is no. They're black and white, no bullshit. Okay? For an E, type E, yes is not yes. He said, yes, why not? But he said yes. For a bureaucrat, yes is yes. What the hell is going on here? We do not understand each other. So that book is how to understand people are different than you are. And you can use it in marriage as well, because a marriage is a complementary team too. We marry always the opposite of us, the complementary. So that is a new thing that I did. How to work with people who are different. Another thing that is new is, translated to Russian too already, is the power of opposites. How to apply Adizes methodology to marriage, to a family. We have a very high rate of divorce in the world. How do you apply it to a marriage? And again, it is how to understand that conflict is normal. Why? Because we are different. So what do we do about it? How to understand each other. So that is my other book. So these are the books that I developed. And now I'm writing another book soon. It's called the Introduction to Organizational Therapy, How do you take a sick company and you make it healthy? How do you heal sick companies?
I see. Thank you very much. So it's very interesting. Russia has adopted a labor productivity improvement program. As far as I understood, it is a famous thing worldwide. So, and since there is a number of courses for low performance and labor productivity that are typical of almost all Russian companies, technological inferiority, worn out equipment, organizational issues, motivation, which indicator do you think we should focus on to improve Russian companies' competitiveness? What do you think?
It relates to the first question that I answered. Technological inferiority, worn out equipment, organizational issues, motivations are not the problem. They are a manifestation of the problem. Manifestation of the problem. Like fever is not a problem. Throwing up is not a problem. They're manifestations of a problem. And what is a problem? I think I will give you with an analogy, maybe better. I've lectured and worked in my long life in 52 countries. I saw from your biography, you also worked in many, many, many countries. Let's see if we can compare notes. And I noticed something very interesting. Whether it's India, whether it's Mexico, whether it's Serbia, whether it's Russia, you go to an apartment of a person. His apartment is beautiful, clean, art, nice furniture, nice clean house. Open the door and go outside of the apartment. The corridors is dirty, the walls are peeling, there is no painting, the garden is full with garbage, the streets are disaster. How come? Why the apartment is so beautiful and clean and outside is such a disaster? Because what they found out in a common denominator is in countries that were colonialized, they were once colonialized, or where you have very strong government, there is a common denominator. People don't believe. Okay, you see, it's like playing tennis, playing together. This is your area, this is my area. The middle is whose? Ours. In a democracy, in United States and other democratic systems, I'm not calling democratic, market economy. The street is ours. In a dictatorship, mine is mine, yours is yours. The middle is nobody's.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understood, yeah.
So your problem in Russia is that the people don't feel that they are part of the system.
Yeah, so.
They see, so now because of that, there is no change. Change is very difficult. So technological inferiority, not because the people are not smart. They invent things at night at home.
I see.
No place to do it. You're putting seeds in a frozen land. And by the way, Skolkovo is not your solution. You try to create a little island there. The problem is systemic.
Yep.
It's a systemic problem. You need to democratize companies. You have to create managers who are not arrogant and they are not playing, Tsar Nikolai, but they're really playing integrators. In my lecture, they say, this is not a leader. This is a leader who makes a hand, who brings together the people to work together, a good coach. And that's what is missing here. If you have an organization that people feel that they own, they're part of it. That's why I always believe in profit sharing. I believe people should share. Then you know what happens? They're going to kill. They're going to have technological superiority. The equipment will be fixed. Organizational issues will solve them, no problem. Motivation is why? Because I'm part of the system. I'm not out of the system. I want to tell you something which I want you to put it in the newspaper. I was going consulting to a company, engineering company in Houston. And in this methodology, we all sit together, 30 people, top management, and discuss what are the problems in the company. What can we do to make the company better? And everybody contributes in a very systematic way, so there is no attacks, there is no criticism, there are not, scapegoats. At the end of the 2 days, we ask everybody, how did you like the 2 days? One guy started crying. A grown-up person crying, listen to me. I'm really emotional now. Mm-hmm. He was a Russian engineer who immigrated to America. Yeah. So I was feeling uncomfortable, a grown-up person crying. So I said, why are you crying? He says, that is what I came into America for. Oh. That is what I came to America for. Because when you cannot participate, when you are kind of just a figure, how are you going to do technological superiority? How are you going to do maintaining the equipment? Why do you care about the equipment? Go to any developing country, the equipment is not being maintained. Why? It's not mine.
Oh, I see.
That is a problem. People are alienated. We have a systemic problem. It's not a productivity improvement program, another program.
Yeah.
Nada. This is another aspirin for a headache, aspirin for cancer.
So thank you, Ицхак. I will pass these words to some ministers. So, I tried previously to explain them that they have to concentrate their forces on the people. People have to understand that all around it's ours, and they are responsible to do something. Yeah, it's absolutely important. Thank you very much. And last year, I met General Director of one of the Japanese companies in Moscow, Mr. Anoda.
By the way, Yuri, I don't know this number 6. I know nothing about Society 5.0. Totally, I know nothing. I would really like to learn about it. If you have any information, please send it to me. I cannot answer this question because I know nothing. I know nothing about it.
So I will pass this information to Yuri, and Yuri will explain you and send also.
Thank you. Mm-hmm.
Much information on the website of 20 Keys. And okay, let's speak about them. Currently, due to the coronavirus epidemic, many companies have moved their employees to remote work in conditions of self-isolation. Please give us 3 main recommendations of how to manage your staff in a remote work environment, how to keep people in a positive mood and effectively perform work tasks. So as far as we touched this team building, so team heart of the organization. What to do now? So we are all in isolation.
Yuri, we already talked about it. It's kind of a repetitive music. What do you call it?
Yeah.
Look. If people are alienated from the company, they're just employees, and they don't feel this is my organization. Yeah. They don't feel what's called in Mexico. I saw you were in Mexico. Called amor a la miseta, love for the shirt, the company shirt. I'm proud of my shirt. I'm proud of my company. They're not going to be motivated. They're going to work the minimum they can get away with from far where they are. Because they're used to be supervised, the guy looking at them every 10 minutes what they're doing. Now that you cannot see them, the hell with you, The way you do it, you should, you know what it reminds me? A lady goes to the psychologist, tells him about the problems about her 18-year-old son. It gives me a lot of trouble. When should I change? When should I start changing him? And the psychologist said, 18 years ago.
Yeah.
The same thing here. Now we have a coronavirus problem, distance leading. How do we motivate them? You should have started motivating them before the coronavirus.
I see.
There should have been teamwork, participation, profit sharing. Now we are motivated whether we are on the Mars or whether we're in Moscow. But when we are not in profit sharing, I'm on a salary, I'm a slave of the company, you know? Now you want to be motivated. What the hell are you talking about?
I see. I see. Many times when I met people, I try to explain the difference between motivation and stimulation. So stimulation, this is from outside.
Sure.
Motivation is from inside, from the heart.
That's right.
So now it will be absolutely clear that if people motivated, it means they have some piece of the realization in his heart. Thank you. Often managers consider emotion something frivolous, far from business, ethics. How do you define the ratio of rational and emotional in the management of an organization?
Yuri, let's look at it physiologically. There is a brain and there is a heart. Let's assume that emotions are with the heart. You feel something. You feel upset about it. Your heart hurts. Your heart hurts. That's why emotional. Brain is logical, is cold. Now what she's asking is, what is the ratio between the heart and the brain? And I say the following thing. Don't manage only with the brain. There's no heart. Why? Because you will make a decision, cost-value relationship, but your heart is not into it. You will not feel comfortable with the decision. You feel uncomfortable. The heart, I don't feel comfortable with the decision. Although the numbers are right, you know. This is only brain, no heart. Or you don't feel comfortable because you feel you're doing something wrong. You feel you're doing something unethical. You're doing something which is not you, you know. Now, don't only work with the heart, only emotion, only spiritual. Why? Because it's not logical. In the logic, you pay to cost-value relationships. How much does it cost? What is the value? That's why you're cold. You're comparing values. With the heart, there is no cost-value relationship. I feel it, I like it, I want it, I know that. So, we need both. But you cannot do it at the same time. By the way, if you try to do it at the same time, you're confused, you will make a bad decision. I can assure you, you will make a bad decision. The way I suggest to do that is the following. You start with the heart. How does it feel? Does it feel good? Do you want to really do that? How does it feel? Then you start thinking. Well,
analyze.
Then you analyze, cost-value relationship. You finish, go back to the heart. Do you still want to do it or not? How does it feel now?
I see.
You bring the two together. That is the answer. And there is another thing which I would like to suggest. Problems of the brain should be solved with the heart.
I see.
You cannot solve problems of the brain with the brain. You're stuck. You cannot control robbers with a robber. Problems of the brain, you solve with the heart. I don't know what to do. Cost-value relationship. Stop. Ask your heart. Ask your heart. The heart will tell you the answer. By the way, brain, you talk to the brain. Heart, you listen to the heart. Listen to the heart. Shut up and listen to the heart. The heart will tell you the answer if you have problems of the brain. When you have problems of the heart, I have a broken heart. My husband left me. My wife left me. Don't try to solve it with the heart. Solve it with the brain. Problems of the heart, solve with the brain. Problems of the brain, solve with the heart.
I see. So it's a kind of continuous
Absolutely.
correlation, yeah?
Both of them important, but you have to know which one to use when.
I see. Super. Thank you very much. It's a very important explanation. Next question. Recently, many countries have been dissatisfied with the processes and results of globalization for various reasons. As a result, we see a wave of return to national ideas and the desire to solve their problems, relying on the internal forces and the resources of their own country. The pandemic has also dealt a blow to international cooperation and international supply chains. There is no doubt that we need a new balance of global and national actions that will allow us to solve global problems, taking into account both global and national interests. The pandemic has shown that there are currently no such solutions. Please share your vision. This question we got from one of our famous consultant, Mr. Lapidus, Professor Lapidus. Maybe you met him before.
For me, the symbol of the Adizes methodology is a hand. This is the symbol. If you go to any church, Pravoslav church, Catholic church, Protestant church, the saints stand like this.
I see.
Why is a saint standing like this? Which means, you know, shaka, a hand. Why is a hand like this? What the hell is going on here? Because what do you see when you look at this? Different fingers together. What the saint is telling us is a blessing. Be different, but together. What was communism? Look at it. Fascism, communism, look at this. They're the same. Together, but the same. This is paralysis. Communism was paralyzing the country. Fascism paralyzes the country. What we need to do is be different together. That applies to the global scene. We need to have national interest. Don't ignore them. We need to have national interest, but we need to pay attention to the commonality. Now, the question is, how do you make a hand a hand? You need this finger. You see, this is the only finger that makes a hand. If you don't have a thumb, there is no hand. There is no hand. We don't have today the thumb. UNESCO is not the thumb. It's dominated by developing countries and racist countries. WHO is also dominated. United Nations, forget it. It's a discussion group. Today, we don't have the vehicle. They tried to do it with the First World War, the League of Nations, then the United Nations. We are trying to do it, but we are not successful. We are still working like this. Everybody for his own interest at the expense of the other interest. Part of the pollution in California, air pollution, comes, you know, from where? From China. The wind blows the pollution to California. From China to California. There is what was it, that nuclear disaster in Japan?
Fukushima.
Yeah. Radioactive fish are in California.
Yeah.
We are interdependent. This is not anymore this, you know, every country for itself. But there is no vehicle to bring it together.
I see.
We pollute each other. We pollute each other. We affect each other. The problem is we need to develop a mechanism that is working to bring us together. Maybe Corona will make that happen. Because now we really have to work together. Because if one guy is sick in Moldova, we are going to get sick in California.
Yeah.
Now we really have to start saying, hey guys, we really are interdependent and our life depends on it, you know? So maybe, God help us. Corona is going to bring this vehicle to the work.
So it's God's order, yeah?
I hope so. And if not Corona, it's going to be the next one. Eventually, we're going to realize, hey guys, enough. We need to be different, but we better develop a mechanism to work together. I was involved 30 years ago, with the daughter of Thomas Mann, Elizabeth Mann. And we wrote a book, by the way, how to make the open seas, not to belong to nobody, but to belong to humanity, to all of us. The open seas, everybody does whatever he wants in open seas, you know, beyond the national boundaries. That should belong to all of us. Now we have to look at the globe, belongs to all of us. The air belongs to all of us. The water belongs to all of us. We are not there yet. We need a bigger crisis to come to that realization. Maybe Corona is not enough. I hope it is.
So it's the same problem like inside of the apartment and outside of the apartment.
That's right.
Inside of the country and outside of the country.
Exactly.
So, but we have to understand we are responsible for globe. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Very nice. 10th question. Recently, the organization's individual employee performance index, KPI, so it means key performance indicator,
I know that,
has become widespread in a number of countries, especially in Russia. In Russia, our managers like it very much. How do you feel about this indicator?
Look, my mother used to say in Old Spanish, I'm a Sephardic Jew, who used to speak at home 15th century Spanish. She used to say, todo que es demasiado no vale, which means anything which is exaggerated is no good. Too much is too much. The same thing with these KPIs. KPIs is a solution to all our problems. Measure everything, plan everything, all the details, and monitor it. Too much. We are ignoring something else. The most important things in life are not measurable, Yuri.
I see.
Example, the most valuable things in life, you know them by their absence. You don't know them as long as you have them. Example, you don't know the value of health till you are sick. You don't know the value of democracy till you live in dictatorship. When you live in democracy, you take it for granted. You don't know the value of love till you are lonely. These are not measurable.
I see.
What you need to do is you should have KPIs, but don't forget the process of arriving at the KPI. We might be ignoring the process, we're achieving the results, but at terrible cost to the process. Look, KPIs gives you standard of living, more sales, better profits, Our standard of living is going up. Our quality of life is going down. Quality of life you don't measure.
Yeah. Thank you. So, I will explain it to my clients about this. It's very important. So, and last 4 questions I have, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
Yeah. How do you feel about the idea of Turkish organization? Do you know something about this?
Turquoise is my friend, what's his name? Don Beck, the spiral dynamics, right? We're talking about spiral dynamics, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
The turquoise, that's a dream. That is his dream. This is what I was talking about when the company society is managed by trust and respect, a commonality of goals and commonality of purpose and interdependency based on mutual trust and respect. And you know, we're going to the next stage of civilization.
Mhm.
Not more is better, better is more. That's why I talk about quality of life. So how do I feel about it? I love it. But in order to get there, we have to get freed from the old paradigm. And the old paradigm is more is better, more GNP, more economic growth, more this, more that. That is true for the underdeveloped countries. For them, for Africa, for developing countries, you're right. You first have to develop your economic base, Maslow hierarchy of needs. First you have to build the base. But once you have the base, more is not better. We have to change, better is more. That's what I say, we have to change now. The focus should be on quality of life and not on standard of living. We already achieved standard of living. How many more cars can you have? How many more houses can you have? How many more, what are you doing? Yeah. And I think we have to change, but to change that paradigm shift, to look at turquoise, that's a major switch. Major switch. It's like switching from underdeveloped country, with a, what do you call it, whatever it's called, the color of the, he has a color for that. Where we believe in tribal, if we pray, the rain will come. We are moving from that to really to scientific orientation. Now we have to move to a spiritual orientation. But that's a switch of the same magnitude of moving from being an anthropological tribe in the Amazonas to becoming a banker in São Paulo, Brazil. I mean, that's a major change. It's a switch. We need to make that switch. And I hope again that switch, Corona is going to help us make that switch.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. And next question I got from our very famous professor, Professor Adler here at college. I don't know about Vasily Nalimov, but as for Ludwig Wittgenstein and
that's your boss. That's your guru, right?
Yeah. So Ludwig Wittgenstein and Edward Deming and Vasily Nalimov said that the goal of an organization always lies outside the organization, although it serves as a system-forming element, and in addition, it should always be one. How do you feel about this statement?
Absolutely, 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 absolutely. Look, I'm going to say something now which is sacrilegious because it's going to get all the economists upset. And I have a degree in economics. Look, the goal of a business organization is profits. That's why they're all measuring, earnings per share and profit margins and net equity, etc. Profits. How did it start? When a guy started a company, he didn't start a company, because he has nothing to do. He started a company hoping to make money. That's legitimate. But in the process, profit became now the goal, exclusive goal. Especially true when the company becomes public company. And now we forget, why do we exist? We don't exist only to make money for the owners. We exist to satisfy the client needs. The organization exists for the client, for those that are willing to pay you for your service. If nobody wants to pay you for your service, you will be bankrupt. The owners will be bankrupt. So the goal is outside of the organization. You have to ask yourself, for whom do we exist? The problem in many companies is they don't look at the market. And that's especially true because of the Soviet Union legacy, again. Soviet Union legacy was not looking at the market. Market did not exist. Production existed. Everything was based on production. Pietolietka, how much we're going to produce. No market orientation. Now the Russian companies have to turn around to look at the market. They don't, whenever we organize a company in Russia, I ask, what are the profit centers? They always make the factory the profit center. I say, factory is not the profit center. The market is the profit center. Turn around, look at the market. What does the market want? Organizations have to serve the market, because if they don't serve the market, they die in a market economy. Now, in a centrally planned economy, the market is the government. I have to serve the government. If the government is happy with me, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Ignoring the market. So you have to, it's never inside. It's never inside by definition. But you have to choose, who is this outside that you're serving? Who is this outside that you're serving?
I see. Thank you very much. Thank you. And next question, it's my question. I heard in your last interview that you told, don't protect children beyond measure. Let them fall and learn from their mistakes. But how do we shape the image of person for future generation to avoid the same mistakes as their parents did? First of all, it concerns ecological issues. So how to explain it?
Yuri, I don't think we have a problem with this anymore. I'll tell you why. Because today the young generation do not try to copy their parents. The old generations, oh, Papa, you know, we do what the Papa says. We want to emulate the Papa. Today, it's all upside down. Today, we learn from our children. I don't know how to operate the television. I don't know how to operate the iPhone. I don't know what to do with the computer. I call my son, who is, 12 years old. What should I do with this? I don't know what to do. Who is the Papa now? I look like an idiot. My children think I'm an idiot. It's upside down. They're not trying to be like me. On the opposite, they're trying to be themselves. So now the question is not how to avoid the mistakes we did. They criticize us. The millenniums criticize the old-timers. You idiot, you're destroying our environment. You're only money-oriented. You don't know nothing, They feel independent now. They're not educated by the parents. They're educated by the television. They're educated by the street. They're educated by the bars where they dance. So it's a totally different world now. Now, the other one is how to protect them, let them fall. What I tell everyone is the secret of success is not how little you fall. The secret of success is how fast you get up. How fast you get up. Because if you get fast up, you know how not to fall next time. If you fall and you sit down and cry, oh, I fell, how terrible, me the victim, you're learning nothing. Get up. By getting up, you learn how not to fall next time. So when a company tells me we have a problem, I say, so? So what? What are you doing about it? Are you getting up? How far do you get up? Which means, look at the Chinese, damn it. They had the corona. Look how fast they got up. The market, the economy is already working. The factories are already working. The world is paralyzed and their economy is going full blast, passing everybody.
I see.
They get up very fast.
I see. And I remember your words. We have to teach them how to learn.
Right.
So it means that they have to understand how and what they have to learn.
Right.
To be success.
Learning. Every problem is an invitation to learn. When you have a problem, ask a question. What does God want me to learn from it? Why did I have this problem is, what did God want me to learn? If you did not learn anything from the problem, you're an idiot. You know what? You're going to repeat the problem. Like some people get married 3 times. What does it mean? They did not learn the lesson yet.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and last question. This is a question from the owner of the publishing house, and it's a quality. Can your theory of the development of the stages of life cycle of organizations be extended to the current situation in the world as a whole? After all, the society that lives on the planet Earth did not respond properly to the global challenges for all mankind at the time. Here we can talk about environmental irresponsibility, rampant exploitation of resources, and unreasonably inflated financial markets. From my point of view, humanity has now reached the stage of boundless digital bureaucratization, virtual digital control, rampant corruption, and in fact is facing possible death. What do you think? Is this a true statement?
Okay, this is a very, very difficult question, and
From the owner of publishing house.
And the owner is extremely intelligent. I can tell you, he's very.
Yeah, I can tell you a secret. I can tell you a secret. She's my wife.
Oh, I don't know whether you're lucky or you're in trouble. One of the two.
At the same time, like brain and heart.
Right. She is. Wow. It's a very, very, very profound question, because you're now looking at the problem not for 40,000 feet. You're looking at the problem from 100,000 feet above. Looking at the whole world change. It is what I think you can tell her, that I believe in a big picture, very, very big picture, from above. We were in the go-go stage of the life cycle as a global civilization.
Yeah.
More is better, more land, more colonies, more resources, more gas, more water, more money, more reserves, more dollars. You see the word more. It's a go-go. But now, it's not working very well. We are moving into the adolescent stage of the life cycle, where we are trying to develop control, relationships, trade agreements, strategic alliances. We are trying to find a way how to bring this thing together, you see?
Yeah.
Now, if we bring it only with A, she's right. It's going to be digitalization, computerization, bureaucratization, control, like what's happening to the European Union. Yeah. They try to do it like this through control of Brussels. And people say, you know what, we want to go back there. You cannot do it. Yeah. You see what is going on? So if they try to do it with A, they're going to kill it. We are going to move back to the feudal stages. But instead of having a king, we are going to have a government. It's going to be the same thing, feudal stages, neo-feudalism.
I see.
New dark ages. Unless we move from go-go through adolescence, not with A, with I.
I see.
If we go through I, turquoise, new world. That's what I was talking about, the paradigm shift. We're at the intersection as a civilization. And I don't know who has the guts to take us in the right direction. Who is a leader who has a vision to take us in the new direction? Because the direction we are going today is towards bureaucratization, centralization, autocratic management, end of liberalism, beginning of new dark ages, eventually.
I see. Dear Dr. Adizes, thank you very much for your guidance and willingness to provide this interview. It was very interesting for me, and I hope that it will be very interesting for all subscribers of our journals and members of Russian Organization for Quality. And I hope that the English version will be interesting for all foreign companies. And I will cease to allocate this interview in the 20 Keys Global net. Thank you very much, and I will be very glad if we meet you once more in Russia. Yeah, and we discussed with Yuri that it will be very interesting if you, or maybe he, will send photos from your office. He told, opened the secret a little bit, secret, small secret,
Okay.
that in your office on the wall there are plenty journals, books, and so it means all your life on this wall. So just one look and you understand everything.
Absolutely.
It is very interesting for me to look at this wall.
Well, give my regards to your wife. Tell her that I'm really impressed with the work she does.
Thank you very much.
Send me the English version when it's available.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.